Third
time's a charm. There you go. Exactly. All right.
We're hoping.
Okay. So if you're watching this from the beginning, this is the third time we're starting this. We're having some small technical difficulties. But anyway, I'm Bob Negen.
I'm Susan Negen.
And welcome to the 12th Community Forum. This is the 12th weekly community forum that we've done with you. This is your opportunity to ask us questions. This is our opportunity to lead a conversation about what your store is going to be like, what retail is going to be like, what you can do to become more successful not when this thing is over, because who knows when this thing is over, but right now, because the reason, the title of this one is Getting Back to Business. And no matter where you live, we're looking good now. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, they're saying they can hear us.
All right. Hey, all right. You know, it's kind of amazing to think that we're talking live here. And, you know, sometimes when things don't go quite right, it's frustrating. But then you see, just sit back a second and go, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we'll talk to 100 people live, 120 people live, and then more people will watch us. Technology truly is changing the world, particularly in this pandemic. But anyway, the world is opening up. Whether it's good or bad, whether it's the correct public health decision or not, it doesn't make any difference. Everything is opening up. One of the things that we want to point out before we even get into this is that in every town, in every market, in every state, things are different. So when we suggest something, certainly don't take it as, you know, the truth. What we're trying to do here is share our opinions, our insights from other people in our community, including our Platinum Mastermind group, and give you sort of, for lack of a better term, more ingredients that you can put into the recipe that you use to make decisions for your business. What may be right for somebody in Brooklyn, New York is not right for somebody in Whitefish, Montana. And we understand that.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is talk to the generalities.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. I did a little bit of research today, and I talked about this on in the previous podcast just minutes ago, but you couldn't hear me. But so I did some research, and you know, the numbers vary wildly from state to state, and even states that are really close to each other, like Maine has almost no cases, very few cases per million people, almost no deaths per million people. And then right next door in Massachusetts, the numbers are huge.
Right.
So, you know, it's...
Maine and Massachusetts right next to each other?
Oh, darling, get a map.
Okay. She went to school in Boston. I know, don't get me wrong. I'm not some geography illiterate, but I thought there was something. I thought Connecticut was in the middle there somewhere.
Oh.
For all of our East Coast watchers, listeners, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I know. I'm Montana, Michigan. So, but anyway, go ahead. You were okay.
No. It's just, you know, it's very interesting to see the differences, and so you know the risks are really different in Boston versus
Maine.
Portsmouth, Maine, or something like that.
So what we're going to talk about today, and what we want your questions about, what we would like to engage with, is this idea that it's time to get back to business. And this morning in the podcast, I don't know if you caught it. If you didn't, I would encourage you to go back and listen to it, because I think that it speaks to this. And rather than do the whole podcast again, I'll just say this. I'll say that my belief is that now is the time for you to become aggressive about opening your business and doing as much business the best way that you can right now. You can either play offense or defense right now. And, you know, and again, I'm saying it one more time, it's up to you. The choice is up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable with is up to you. But as a general rule, right now is the time to play offense. Now is the time to market your business more aggressively. Now is the time to communicate more regularly. Now is the time to get market share. I shared this morning that I went to my local hardware store twice this weekend, and both times they were closed. You know, they're still carrying their pandemic hours. They're closed on Sunday, even though it was Memorial Day. So twice I had to go to Home Depot.
Which we hate to
I
do.
hate going to Home Depot. But guess what? I had things that I needed, and I will give my local businesses the first crack at my business, but I'm not going to coddle them. If I need something, I need something. And I think that that's a really important dynamic right now. When it comes to safety, people are going to shop at the stores where they feel safest.
Yeah.
When it comes to their experience, they're going to go to the store where they feel the store is most in tune and giving them the most options for their business. So, you know, a lot of people, I mean, I've been reading, you know, all the posts on our Whizbag Retailers Facebook page. If you're not a member, I would encourage you to go and join. But a lot of people are doing this, well, you know, I still don't have any employees back. So you're making a lot of excuses, and they may be real. We have bandwidth issues just like you. Don't get us wrong. But when I talk about offense or defense, defense is, oh, I'm going to open slowly, or I'm going to be really, really, you know, I'm not going to market my business. I'm going to cut back on my Facebook Lives. That's it. It comes from fear. And what I'm suggesting is now is the time to get out of your comfort zone. Not that you've been in your comfort zone for the last 10 weeks.
No one's been
no one's been in a comfort zone.
Ain't no comfort zone to be had the last couple of weeks.
But now is the time to really, really get out there and show your customers that you're back. Show them that that they are important, that they are appreciated. Show them that you are doing everything to keep them safe. And, you know, really, really put your best foot forward the best that you can.
Well, and I think it's not really so much about speed. Like you said, that you're going to open slowly. I don't think it's so much about speed as a willingness to go out there and do everything you can to get all the business that you can from each and every customer.
That's perfect.
So it's not really about speed. It's
right.
about, to me, it's more about adaptability and expanding your possibilities of doing business. We've talked about this over and over again. How do your customers want to experience your store? They still want the experience. They still want that exciting local independent retail experience that you gave them. They just might want it in different ways. They might want it by shopping by appointment. They might want it on, Facebook Live, social selling. They might want it all different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, but really one of the things that we wanted to do is sort of focus in on your team right now, because now is the time when you're really sort of setting the stage for what's happening in the future. And one of your big opportunities is to get market share. If you're the best out there, if you're keeping the most customer friendly hours, if you're if you're showing your customers that safety is of the utmost importance to you. All of these things lead into a better experience, but really the ultimate experience creator is the team that you have in place. I mean, you can be a brilliant performer on Facebook Live and, encourage people to come into your store, but if they come into your store and get a bad experience, an indifferent experience from one of your team members, you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So no matter what you're doing for marketing, whether you're marketing your curbside, whether you're marketing delivery, whether you're marketing the in-store experience, whether you're marketing your appointments, it all comes down to when they finally do interact with you, what kind of experience are they getting? So I'm just going to share a couple of things real quickly with you, and I see that we're already getting some questions.
Yeah, and if you do have questions, this is please go ahead and put them in the comments bar. Aubrey's grabbing them for us and creating a document. We're reading all the questions, and we'll be answering all your questions. Or if you've got a really, really great idea or something that's really working for you right now, let us know that too.
Absolutely, your ideas are really important. But what I wanted to share is now is the time for you to get clear on what you want from a team, what kind of culture you want, and start building it right now.
So can I just interject?
Yes, you can.
This is goes to the question that we have from Tristan right now, and she says,
Tristan.
as a supervisor and owner, I'm finding that it's taking a lot of energy to motivate in my staff. A lot. Even more than it did 6 weeks ago, when the team was just so happy not to be on unemployment. I don't have time for that or any more negativity. Do you have some suggestions?
I have a couple of suggestions.
Great.
So one suggestion. So there's sort of two paths you have here. Tristan, is that? Do you think I'm saying that correctly?
Tristan.
There's a couple of paths you can take here, Tristan, and one is trying to get your current employees more fired up to do a better job with you right now. And what I would do for that is, I don't know how long you've been in our community, Tristan, but we have a model called ADD, and it stands for Ask, Discuss, and Decide. And really what this model does, is motivational model, it allows your team members to help you come up with solutions to the problem. So I wouldn't say, ask them, how come you guys are so sullen these days? What I would say is something like, okay, things are opening up. How are we going to make our customers' experience absolutely amazing? So the first part of it is an ask. So ask them what they think you should do to really position yourself as the first choice when this is done.
Right.
And then listen to them. Really listen to them. And what the D is discuss. And usually discussion is time bound. You could have a meeting. If you have an employee Facebook page, you can encourage that conversation there. You can encourage it, have the conversation in one-on-one meetings, but say, we're going to really talk about this for a week. We're going to come up with a plan together to really, come out of this looking better, having a better business than ever. And then the third thing, the second D, the third letter in the acronym, stands for decide. And if they've given you great ideas for how to change and things to do, great. Make it part of the way you do business. Now, if you have the retail mastery system, one of the mantras that sort of runs through it is, if it ain't written, it ain't real. Yep. So don't just say, hey, we decided to do that. Write a document, write a memo on that Facebook, employee Facebook post. Tell them what you're deciding to do. If you're taking notes right now, write this down. Let them help you plan the fight, and they won't fight the plan.
That's the essence of it, right there.
So get them involved. So good.
They're all going to be more motivated and excited to do their own ideas.
Right.
I mean, their ideas might be exactly the same as your ideas.
You say, great idea, because it is a great idea.
Right.
It's great enough that you both have it.
Right, but if they come up with the idea, they're going to be so much more motivated, inspired, and excited to follow through on that idea. So that's definitely one of the tricks. And what's the second trick?
The second trick is to sort of rebuild. And
can I give you the word that Stephanie?
What?
That Stephanie said. She said she's curating her.
Curating the list. So anyway,
she's curating
your team. That is so perfect. So really, now is the time. Now is the time to curate your team and to bring in your next set of superstars. If they don't want to come along with your effort to become great, it's time for new people. Yeah. And there's never been a better time for new people, actually. So you think about all, there's record unemployment right now. There are people who are dying to come to work for you, who are dying to do a great job for you.
And not only that, but there are a lot of department store, large franchise retailers that are going out of business right now.
Yeah.
Penny's is closing stores. Pier 1 is closing all their
all
stores.
All the department stores,
The department stores are laying people off. There's tons of great retail professionals out there that are losing their jobs. Go recruit them.
And that can be and that can help you up your game. I'll share with you. One of the most significant events in my retail history, when I owned the Mackinac Kite Company, I don't know if you know my story, but I owned a small chain of kite and toy stores for 19 years. and we were good business. We were like a lot of you. We were enthusiastic. Our customers loved us. There was great buzz about us on the street, but we never quite got over the hump. If we have something that we call the retailer's journey, and most of us in retail start as shopkeepers, right? Somebody with a passion for their product. But the second of the three stages in the journey is this thing called retail pro. And my opinion, the next 10 years, if you're not 5 or 10 years, if you're not a retail pro, you're not going to be in business.
You're not going to make it.
You're not going to be in business. So one of the most significant things that happened to me as a retailer, I was a shopkeeper that was working really hard to become a retail pro, but then I met Susan.
And I had been trained to be a retail pro.
Right. She was a department store executive. And so when Susan came to work for us, all of a sudden it was like, so all of this energy and these wonderful ideas and all of the good things that we had done at the Mackinac Kite Company, by putting these systems and all the things that she knew about into place, it was amazing how fast that things improved dramatically. They were good, but they got excellent in a hurry. And so there's that. So there are people who can help take you to the next stage.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a couple of other things that I want to share about. When you think about your team, the store of the future is not going to be quite like the store of the past. So one of the things that we've created is something called the Retail Accountability Blueprint. And if you want to know how to create structure for your business, it is in a program that we have called the Master Plan Advantage, which happens to be at a reduced price until next Sunday. But it's this whole idea of thinking about the structure of your business so that you have the right persons, so S-O-U-L, in the right roles, R-O-L-E-S. And so by becoming thoughtful about what your ideal team looks like, you can put the right souls in the right roles. And when people know what they're supposed to be doing and are able to do that job correctly, I mean, it just makes an enormous amount of difference in your business. So, to the question, they're not quite motivated. One of the things that you might want to do is invest in the Master Plan Advantage. It's not very long to do the whole program, like 3 hours, and sit down and really get intentional about, okay, what do I want my business to look like? You may need a web person. You may need somebody who is a media person who does your social media lives. So those are different functions and on the floor sales associates. But really start to intentionally build out your ideal team and then say, who do I need? Who don't I need? This person is dialing it in. They've been with me too long. I need to curate them out. I need to
curate my team.
I need to release them back into the industry. So two things is, one is to try to get your current team on board, and two is just say, look, I'm starting from scratch. Starting from scratch doesn't mean you get rid of everybody, but what it does mean is that you become really intentional about what you're trying to do.
That blueprint could change.
And that blueprint can change.
Yeah, and the roles can change. The souls might stay the same, but they might be occupying different roles. Now, if you want to learn more about that Retail Accountability Blueprint, it's in our course called Master Plan Advantage, and it's on sale right now. It's super cheap. So I just put the link in the chat. It's going to be on sale now through Sunday, right?
I said that when you were talking.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to type.
But that's okay. It can serve you said twice.
There you go.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that Master Plan Advantage, it's one of those programs that when we first created it, we knew it was good. I mean, we knew it was important. But it didn't get a lot of buzz in the beginning, and we were kind of
surprised.
Puzzled. But then all of a sudden, then the stories started coming back, and people are like, oh my God, this is the most important thing I've ever done in my business, right?
Yeah.
So it's yes, and it comes with an unconditional money back guarantee. Yeah.
Good. So Tristan says, thank you. I love the ADD idea. This is perfect for my people. They're great people. They're just struggling, working from home, not engaged. So ADD.
Yeah, beautiful, great.
Excellent. Yeah, good. So we've got a whole bunch of great people on. We've got Kathy Campbell on.
Hi, Kathy.
Yeah.
So we had Faye someplace too.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Other questions?
Let's check and see. No other questions yet. So you get to just talk some more about it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about it.
Unless you have a question or an opportunity that you want to throw out there for all of us to help you maximize, or you have something that's really working for you, something that's, what's working now for you. Go ahead and pop in the comments and we can discuss.
And, I think until another question comes up, I think that, Tristan, you did hit on something with your follow-up remark that's really, really important. And that is, this thing has been hard on everyone, right? It's just been hard on everyone. So when people aren't motivated, I believe that it's in your best interest to try to take your current team and give them a shot, try to bring them back around. You probably know from before the pandemic who needs to go and who doesn't. And so that whole curation thing is important, but also understand if you have people who were not good people, good employees, people who are working hard to make your business all that it could be. If those people were good team members before the pandemic, really work hard to try to bring them along, to try to, get them where they need to be, because it's been hard. It has been hard. I can't even imagine, having young kids at home, trying to homeschool them and do work and manage your household so, compassion is always really, really important. I mean, super important. But at the end of the day, I do believe from the bottom of my heart that this is a very real opportunity for you to create the team and the culture that you're going to need to be really successful in the future. And because you know what? There's not room for hobbyists anymore. You all know who I'm talking about. You're not a hobbyist, you're watching this. Exactly. But in your town, wouldn't it be great to have an art gallery? Or I'd sure love to have a yarn shop. And then they don't do the work that's needed. They don't invest in themselves. They don't invest in their education. They don't invest in their skill set. Well, those people are going to go away. One of the things that I've talked about regularly in the podcast is I believe that there's this, that success and failure are being accelerated like we've never seen before.
Sure.
And if you're good, you are going to become so much more successful, so much faster than it was ever possible before. There's less stores, there's less competition. There's a desire to shop local. There's all these things that are lining up for us. And so if you do a good job, you will be rewarded. But if you think it's going to be business as usual and you don't behave the way your customers want you to behave, you're going to go out of business faster than usual. That's why sort of the message here is let's get with it. Let's get with it. I think in one of the, we're getting some people.
Yeah.
I think in one of the two of these episodes that got messed up, I was using, this morning in the podcast, I used the metaphor of this is like running a mile race. And a mile race is 4 laps around the track. And in the first 3 laps, generally, if the skill level is approximately the same, people will be packed up. You'll find a couple people in the front and a couple people lagging behind, but generally it's packed up. But then you get to the 4th lap and that's when
the bell lap, right?
The bell, that's right, the bell lap.
The bell lap.
And that's when preparation starts to come into play. That's when talent comes into play. That's when your unique perspective and experience comes into play. Desire. And so, we're really on that bell lap. Things are opening up. And that's why we just really want to encourage you to do everything you can right now to be the kind of business you need to be successful in the future.
Yeah, okay. This is a great question from Karen. She says, what are your suggestions for getting local people to shop online at my store versus online at the big boxes? So in other words, how do I get people to shop on my e-commerce website?
Right. That's a great question. And the answer is you build a relationship. People don't have a relationship with Best Buy. People don't have a relationship with Amazon. But you can proactively build a relationship with your customers. And, if you haven't been doing Facebook Lives yet, you have to create ways, you have to create reasons to communicate with them. And then you need to communicate with authenticity. And, I think live video is just not necessarily selling, not social selling, but
also social selling.
But also social selling.
Both kinds.
So, so if you were to do, I don't know what kind of business you're in, Karen, but
Karen's been on asking questions before, and she told us, and I can't remember, Karen. I'm sorry. Tell us what kind of business you're in.
But really, so this is marketing. So, and this is the shift. And by the way, if you're not part of the Retail Marketing Club, I would suggest that you join. And we're going live at the Retail Marketing Club at 3:00. But, marketing, and that's what this afternoon, the discussion is going to be about this very topic. Before the pandemic, marketing was about doing all the things you could do to get people into your store. Well, a lot of people don't want to come into your store, Karen. Yeah. You want people to shop on your website.
You have to drive traffic to your website just the same way.
That's exactly right.
Just the same way as you would drive traffic. And a lot of the strategies are actually the same.
Yep.
Just the destination is different.
Yep. So, yes. So it's all about marketing. And, the essence of the answer is it's about marketing. It's about engaging your customers. It's about staying in front of them. I have a quote that's regularly used around, our stuff, and that is, it's not your customer's job to remember you, it's your job to be remembered. And that's what marketing is being remembered. But let me add something to that also. It's not just your job to be remembered, it's your job to be memorable. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to really become memorable. One of the ways that you do that is with authenticity. One of the ways that you do that is with humor. You just have to stay in front of your customers and tell them that you appreciate them. Show them that you appreciate them. And if they need to buy from you, ask them to go to your website.
Yeah. Send an email asking them to go to your website.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's lots of different ways to drive traffic to your website. You can also connect your social media to your website. There's so many
absolutely things. Something else to do is to do what we call item specials. So what you want to do is you want to get your customers to go to your website. And an item special is what what a lot of people do, is what we teach with the 12 Days of Christmas, where you have one item that's at a deep discount and you make it a fun thing every day. You unveil that thing. You can have the 10 days till reopening. We did that a couple of weeks ago. A countdown to reopening. But, normally an item special where you have one item at a discount to get people into the store, that one item with a good deal or with a nice bundle would be to get them to your website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just about driving traffic. Another great question here from Leah. She says, can we talk about difficult customers? I don't know where she is, but she says where we are, we have a large movement of rights people and a large movement of masks only people. I'm following all guidelines and make rules that I'm comfortable with, but I'm a little nervous about the spoiling for a fight types, especially and mostly for my staff.
Yes.
What do you do when you've got customers who are unwilling to follow your rules and are belligerent about it?
Yes. And we did an entire podcast about that. If you haven't subscribed to Coronavirus and the Independent Retailer podcast, I would recommend go to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe. Uh, I won't talk about that. But anyway, so there's an entire episode around that. But here's my answer. I don't think you should put your team in that position. You know, a lot of people are being very, very proactive about opening up easily. I've mentioned Platinum Mastermind Group and Certified Coach Morgan Harris a couple of times. She thought it through in 3 phases. And phase 1 is by appointment only. Appointment only, and everybody on Morgan's team wears a mask. And when they sign up for the appointment, the rules are made very, very clear.
Yeah.
You only wear a mask. The first thing you do when you come into the store is they walk you over and you wash your hands. So in this case, she's training her customers, and the doors are locked, by the way.
Yeah.
So she's only letting people in.
By appointment.
But you know, you have to figure out what works for you and what's best for you. But I think it's unfair of you to ask your employees to enforce rules like you must wear a mask. Now, you can to tell them about the bakery.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily agree with you, because your employees.
She's right. If we're
you know, we ask our employees to enforce rules all the time, right? Like, don't shoplift that thing, right? You know, we ask them to enforce rules all the time. Now, we certainly don't want them to be put themselves in any danger. So, you know, well, Bob's asked me to tell the bakery story. I went into the bakery to get some cupcakes, and I was wearing a mask, and the gal behind the counter was wearing a mask, and I said, "Thanks for wearing a mask. I really appreciate you not sneezing on my cupcakes." And so she said, "Yeah, we had a guy in here earlier, and he would not put a mask on and refused to leave the store, and so I had to call the police." So, like that, I think to me the answer to the question is, you need to come up with a step-by-step plan for your employees to follow. First, you ask them to, let's just say, is put on a mask, whatever your policy is. You ask them to do. Then, if they won't do that, say, "No problem. We'd be happy to help you in these following ways. You know, we'll bring it out to you. I can do a FaceTime video. You know, give that person an option to shop with you, but not wear a mask." I'm just using that as an example. That's step 2. So step 1, step 2, step 3. They don't want to do any of that. You know, say, you know, here's our next 3 Facebook Lives. I'm going to write them down. You can shop online. That's step 3. And then if they still won't comply and they still won't leave, you know, then what do? Do you have them call you as the owner or manager? Do you have them call the police? I mean, you have to decide to figure out what the steps are. Yeah. And I think that you can do that. I think you can develop a plan. And there's a way, and it's hard. I'm not saying that it's not hard. We deal with difficult customers as store owners all the time. People who are angry about wanting to return something or it didn't fit the way they thought. You know, we deal with crazy customers all the time. So you just have to come up with that script.
We don't.
Yeah, you do. We have.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Someday I'll tell you the story about the crazy customer I had when I was senior executive at Macy's in San Francisco, because it's off topic.
Okay.
But this little old lady would come in like once a week and try to steal purses. Like, she would just pick them up, like 5 of them. I'm telling the story anyway. And she would just walk towards the door with all these. She probably had dementia or something. Yeah. But anyway, but she would get mad, and, you know, it was crazy.
So anyway, I think Susan gave a much better answer than I did. Here's where my answer came from. You know, here in Michigan, a security guard was shot dead. I read a story about that was a security guard. So it makes it a little different. But there's a story about somebody breaking an employee's arm at Target. And, you know, so while I just hate to, I agree with Susan 100%. And I so admire what Morgan Harris did at Green Bambino. And she's just an example because I know what she does because she's in the Platinum Mastermind group. But I know that so many of you have really put together thoughtful policies. And I applaud you for that. But where I start to get very, very nervous is when I think about the safety of your team members and, just the visceral, emotional anger that some of these people feel when they start talking about masks. So, but now having said that, I hope you watched yesterday's Real Retail TV, because I do feel very, very, very strongly that every retail business, all of your employees should wear masks all the time. Your customer's perception should be that you are on the safety issue. And, so I hope that you'll watch that, because one of the mistakes that I see people making around the decision of whether their team members should wear masks or not is they're letting their own beliefs get in the way. Well, I don't believe that the coronavirus is a problem, therefore my employees don't need to wear masks. Well, perception is everything. And frankly, I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you believe that the earth is flat and the moon is made of Swiss cheese. I was corrected this morning. Apparently it's blue cheese. I don't care. What I care about as a customer is whether you care about me. We were having a call with a number of Platinum Mastermind Group members and alumni, and one of the alumni, Peter Moore, was saying that he has a friend who's in the hotel business. And his friend said, well, I'm just going to have to hire somebody to clean my lobby 24/7, right? Just because when somebody walks into this hotel, they're going to want to see somebody cleaning. So I just feel that it's really, really important that your team, that you and your team look like you care. I mean, you should care, but I hope that you'll catch that episode.
Yeah. All right. So there's just tons of.
Now we have some questions.
There's tons of great things. Summer, everybody can read the comments. Summer's got a great idea called a 2-minute try-on. There's another great question from Karen, and she says, do you think people are going to feel more comfortable shopping outside? It really is a pain, but we can do it. So let me just tell you again, Morgan Harris, what she's been doing, she's really being very innovative. She's a great Platinum Mastermind Group member. She is doing shopping outside, but what she's doing is she's taking a specific particular category outside with her, and she has a little covered area in her store, so she's lucky that she's got a place that she can do it, element free. But so like she has a children and baby store. So one day it says high chairs, and she's got high chairs, and she does a little teeny bit live every morning. Hey, it's Morgan. I'm outside today, and we're doing high chairs. Come on out and see us. If you're in the high chairs.
Market.
If you're in the market for high chairs, come on over. You shop in the open air, and we're here to help you. And then the next day it's potty training stuff that she brings out, and the next day it's baby clothes or whatever. So she does a different category. So she's not trying to bring all of her merchandise out. She's just bringing little chunks at a time. And the other thing that she's doing, of course, which is brilliant, she's sending an email, she's doing the Facebook Live, she's posting on her social media. She's not just hoping that people driving by stop and see her stuff outside. She's driving traffic. As we're doing all these different omni-experiential, we're calling it, ways to shop with you, you're going to have to drive traffic to all these different formats. And it's all a big circle. Your email is going to drive to your Facebook Live. Your Facebook Live is going to drive to your e-com.
And something else that's I think is very interesting is the whole appointment thing. People want to shop by appointment. And, we have from another Platinum Mastermind Group member. So it was Morgan's idea to do, we mentioned what she was doing with appointments, but she charged $20 for the appointment, right? And then of course the $20 was applied to the purchase, but it sort of got rid of the look-to-lose, got rid of the people who were, being very
looky loose.
look-to-lose,
Lucky lose.
lucky lose. But then somebody else in the Platinum Mastermind group in the same industry in Canada, she shared that she started that at $20, fee for an appointment. But what she found was the average sale from an appointment was 4 times the average sale. So the point here is that we're in brand new territory. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try to do new stuff. When Morgan brought it to the Platinum Mastermind group, she was like, I haven't any idea whether it's going to work or not. But we all applauded her because, well, it doesn't make any difference if it works or not. What counts is that you're trying it, So this is really that energy that I'm encouraging you to find in yourself, to bring out from your employees via ADD. So, there's lots and lots of great marketing that you can do. Now is the time to get out of your comfort zone and get into the kick ass and take names zone, because now is the time.
You're swearing on the online again, Bob.
It was only 3 letters.
Okay.
I promise I will never drop an F-bomb. Never. Okay.
That's about all I promise. All right. Great question here from Linda. She says, what if you're taking all the precautions, but other similar local businesses are not?
Oh, that's a great question.
We have very few cases here, but it's not zero. There's no place where there's 0 cases.
Can I answer that?
Of course.
Oh, Linda, you have a huge opportunity here. So here's my official prediction. So there's this feeling around the world right now that since the government is letting us move around, somehow the nature of the coronavirus has changed. The nature of the coronavirus has not changed one bit. What has changed is what we're allowed to do. So what I believe is going to happen is that the people who are being incredibly vigilant now, Linda, I'm encouraging you to do that now, are going to be seen as the ones with foresight and seen as the ones who are responsible. Because even though we only have, 0 or almost none,
few cases,
it's coming. It's coming. So in the Keweenaw Peninsula, which is the
little tippy top of
the state of Michigan, right? I think that the Keweenaw is as far away from an interstate as you can get in the United States of America. They have no cases in Houghton County right now. I think it's Houghton County. But guess what? It's been the spring. Nobody goes to the Keweenaw. Nobody goes to Copper Country in the spring. But now it's summer. And now they're lifting the restrictions. And now people from Milwaukee and Chicago and Detroit. And so even if it's not to you yet, unless they find a vaccine, which I don't think it's going to happen. I could be wrong.
Not for a while.
It's going to continue to march through the world. And so even though people may be skeptics right now, they may not believe right now, but I'll tell you what, if they get it themselves, they will no longer be a skeptic. If a friend gets it and gets waylaid or dies, they will no longer be a skeptic. If a compromised, family friend dies because of it, they will no longer be a skeptic. My belief is that that people are going to become less and less skeptical and more cautious on their own. We've been cautious because of government mandate. I think we're going to become we as a group are going, not as us as retailers, humans are going to be more cautious because the evidence of the horribleness of this is going to happen. So, Linda, I think that it is.
Like the people in New York are more cautious naturally because they've had more of it than the people in Montana.
Yes. And so, Linda, my belief is that it's coming to you. And if you're on front of it, when it comes to you, everybody's going to go, I'm going to go see Linda because she's been ahead of this since the very beginning. She knows what she's doing. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And I agree with Bob. And I also, I just think, Linda, you got to do you, right? Like if what you're doing is following the rules and you're comfortable with that, great. I think there's tons of ways that you can do that and still drive traffic and still generate tons of sales and revenue. Go for it. Follow your conscience.
There you go.
A shorter answer.
Right. But I do think that, and I mentioned this before. My biggest concern, I mentioned this in the Real Retail TV, is that, we've all, as a society, have worked so hard and suffered so much under this quarantine, and then they're going to let it up, and then all of a sudden we're going to see it come back. And I'm not predicting this, but this is my fear, is that it's going to come back, and they're going to have to lock us down again to protect us.
Terrible.
And
nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. And not only that, but that second wave, I don't know that the governments of any country the government just can't keep, coming up with relief every time that this happens.
Yeah.
So while we might have made it, you might have made it through this first wave, thanks to the PPP and other government programs around the world, we can't count on that in the future. We need to protect ourselves. So that's
that's great. So just one comment that I thought was really great. Patrick says, we are doing the same with appointment only, but if someone comes to the store with a mask on, we miraculously have an appointment available to them. And if they don't have a mask on, we say, would you like to book an appointment in the future? And then that triggers the discussion about what the appointment entails. And then if they don't want to do that, they don't book the appointment. And what he says is that we've had a few minor, problems, but nothing major, because that's a really good way to handle it.
Yeah, I want to share one other thing too. I don't remember who said it.
I love it.
But I love that, Patrick, by the way. Thank you very much for sharing that. I mean, this is what I love, is I love seeing such innovative things. But somebody mentioned on Whiz Bang Retailers, again, if you're not a member, I encourage you to join, but there's some great conversations. But somebody said that in the beginning, there was a lot of this, these are my rights, people coming in and trying to show their anger towards the government and its restrictions. But after they sort of got that out of their system, then everybody became nicer. It was like people were trying to make a point, and then once that sort of petered out, then everybody became much kinder and gentler. So I'm really hoping that people.
I think that's great. I think that's great. I think we've gotten most of the questions. So if you have any other questions, let us know.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna start wrapping up. Bob, do tell about what's happening with the coronavirus and the independent retailer broadcast.
And what's happening with our programs and products.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you know how important all of you are to us, and how wonderful it has been to serve you with the Coronavirus and the Independent Retailer podcast. And we're on week 11 right now, and we have decided to suspend that daily live podcast, or that daily live Facebook that we turned into a podcast. Just as we're encouraging you to get, not to get back to business and do things differently, but at Whiz Bang Training, the Retail Success Summit is coming up. We have lots of initiatives that we need to get back to. And so, and the coronavirus, that immediate visceral fear that we all experienced has sort of died down. And now we're moving into another phase of doing business this way. And so we've decided to suspend it. Now, having said that, just because we're suspending a live 5-day-a-week morning video podcast does not mean that we're stopping our podcast.
No.
We're reimagining it. I think that at the end of the day, it will be more in depth. It will be of better value to you. We'll be able to bring in guests, and we just think that we're going to be able to serve you in a more meaningful way by changing things up. It takes a lot of time to do it 15-minute podcast, doesn't it?
It really does. You'd be shocked. Yeah. And there may be, and as we transition back into the office again, when we have our full office set up, it may be something that we can look at in the future.
We're building a studio in the office.
People are saying we're going to miss you, and we're going to miss you too. It's been great, and especially at the beginning of this coronavirus adventure, we'll call it an adventure. There's so much happening all the time that every day was really necessary. The speed with which things are changing is slowing down, and so we feel like we can slow down a little bit too.
And we feel we can
not
serve you better.
abandon you, just slow down.
And we feel we honestly feel we can serve you better by doing other things now. The other thing that's happening is yes, and I would encourage you. So if you subscribe, if you go to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to the Independent Retail and Coronavirus podcast, you will be subscribed when we transition it into whatever it's going to be.
Instead of coronavirus all the time. It'll just
we're kind of over the coronavirus.
Awesome retail all the time with coronavirus thrown in on the side.
Yeah. So we're not ignoring it. We're just choosing to move on past it.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage you to subscribe. The other thing is, one of the things that we did during this pandemic is we lowered the price on all of our programs and products. It just seemed like something we could do. So if you want, we knew that cash was tight, and we thought that by offering you a really, a good discount on our programs and products, that it might be a way to help you. And several of you took advantage of it. Thank you very much. But that discount, again, moving on, is only going to be here till the end of the month. So you can save $500 on the Retail Mastery System, or take 3 monthly payments off. The Retail Sales Academy is normally $297 a month. Right now, it's only $197 a month. Make that investment right now, and you're locked in. The Master Plan Advantage has got a big discount on it. What is the price on it?
It's $297.
From $497 to $297.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
And finally, and this is something I hope that all of you do. Please don't miss this opportunity. The Retail Success Summit has been postponed. The live version has been postponed till June 2020, June 2021. But we're bringing it to you virtually, and it's going to be 4 days, July 13th through 16th, 4 half days. So you can stay in your store, run your store, do some business, and take advantage of the virtual Retail Success Summit. And it's only $297. And we're super, super, super excited about what we're going to be able to do with that.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is going to focus on this whole idea. Okay, it's a new reality. What are we doing? What can we do? We're going to be bringing in some great guest speakers, and that's only $297. Just all of these are great investments in your business.
That's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Really, all of these things. Let's go back to what I just was sharing with you earlier. In this new reality, you better be good. I talked about the acceleration of success and failure. There's no room for hobbyists. There's no room for people who are dabbling at retail. You want to be a player? Be a player. Get on it. And the only way for you to really level up your game is to make investments in yourself, in your skills, in your knowledge. And I happen to think that when it comes to investing in your skills and knowledge and mindset and all that stuff, retail, that here at WizBank Trading, we got best in class.
Yeah.
And as with we do. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Now, one more thing. Anytime you invest with us, it comes with a money back guarantee. So no risk.
One last question from Kathy Campbell. She says, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. It's pollen. Everything is blooming.
It's not the coronavirus,
is it?
Okay, thank you.
It's not a tumor. No, it's the pollen it's finally spring and summer have arrived in Michigan, but it's making me sneeze. Kathy says, any clarification on the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, as the rules continuously change? So most people right now are focusing on the forgiveness portion of the event. And so you just need to, so forgiveness, you can get forgiveness for using the money on, I'm just going to do a real super quickie thing, but the bottom line is talk to your banker.
Yeah.
Whoever you borrowed that money from, talk to them, because they're the ones that they're going to use the guidelines set by the SBA, but they're the ones that are going to be interpreting the guidelines set by the SBA. So talk to your banker, the one that lent you the money. So that's the bottom line. So right now you can use the money for payroll up to $100,000 a year, wages, salaries, tips, okay, up to $100,000 a year.
Per person, per employee.
Per person.
Right.
Yeah. So
Kathy, if you're making 175, you can only do 100.
You can only count $100,000 of your payroll. But then if you've
I hope
got,
you're making 175.
I do too. And but then if you've got an employee making $125,000 a year, you can only count $100,000 of that. So all of your payroll, wages, salary, tips. Then you can also use the money for health benefits if you give any, like health insurance. And if you do a retirement benefit, like you're matching into an IRA account, you can use the money for that. You can use your money for your rent. You can use money for interest on a mortgage payment. You can use money for your utilities. Now, the payroll has to be 75% at least to get full forgiveness. If it's only 70%, then you just get a little bit less forgiveness. And you take that little bit out at the end that's left over as either you either pay it back or you take it out as a 1% interest loan for 2 years. It's the cheapest money you're ever going to get anywhere ever. So just, take a look at those things. Again, bottom line, talk to your banker, have them help you work it out. There are tons of great calculators on the SBA website where you can plug your own numbers in and kind of figure out what your forgiveness is going to be. So that's
there you go.
That's it.
All right. Good.
Real quick question. Kirsten says, did you say if we had tickets to this year's summit, you're going to get the virtual for free? Yes.
So
if you had tickets to the summit, you are automatically going to get you're going to be attendees for the virtual summit and automatically get tickets for next year's summit as well.
Plus, we have a bunch of bonuses.
And
so
bonuses,
if you,
more to come.
If you already have tickets to the Retail Success Summit, for purchase for 2020, I guarantee you are going to get a sweet. How do you like that?
Sweet deal.
A sweet deal. So yes.
So Linda says, can I pay for the virtual summit $297 and then use my free tickets for 2021? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Linda, you're going to get both already. I think she's already bought tickets for the summit.
I think she's got prepaid. Yeah.
Prepaid tickets.
You're right.
If you've already paid for your 2019 summit tickets, you're already going to get both. You're going to get the current summit free, and then you're also going to get to use your ticket from this year for next year. That's your bonus for signing up early.
Yes.
Good job.
Let's just say this. If you have any questions at all, call the office.
That's what I was saying.
Belinda will take great care of you. But I really, we're just really, really excited about what a virtual summit can do. We've been, Paige is taking a course, and we have friends who have been doing virtual summits, and we've got some calls. Hopefully, you're going to have some calls with them. But people are doing really, really cool things, and we have every intention of making the 2020 Virtual Retail Success Summit awesome, off the charts awesome. Yeah. So, and like Susan said, at $297, it really should be a no-brainer. All of this stuff should be a no-brainer. With a money-back guarantee, it should be a no-brainer. Good. Invest in yourself. Get better.
All right, let's let these people go. They've been watching us for a long, long, long time.
One more thing. If you're not a member of the Retail Marketing Club, we meet at 3 o'clock. You can go to whizbangtraining.com, go to products. You can join, $29 a month.
Yep.
If you're a member of the Retail Marketing Club, hopefully we'll see you in an hour.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See you later,
All right,
everybody.
now I have to end the live stream.
Oh.
Here we go. Okay, here we go. Now,
Bye.
bye, everybody.
Thanks for being here.